Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel.
We're the Dawnties.
My name's Rochelle.
I'm your favorite Donna.
And today we're going to talk about the best books that we read in the month of October.
Is going.
So yes, every month we like to talk about our top 3 favorite books that we read the previous month. Just because we read so much, there's 2 of us, we don't ever do full wrap-ups. But if you ever do want to know like what we're reading, what we're liking, how we're rating things, our Goodreads are always listed down below, so you can check it out there. But yeah, it was a good month for me in the sense of I didn't find any brand new favorites, like ones that I'm dying to talk about, but I had a hard time picking some books to talk about because I read some pretty good ones.
Well, it was a nostalgic month for me.
I saw you reading a lot of older ones.
Yeah.
Like, are they rereads?
2 of my top books for this month are rereads of books that I first read like 40 years ago.
Oh.
And
okay.
They're still my tops.
Okay. All right, so do you want to start us off?
All right. First off, when I was a teenager, I was really into Stephen King, read all of them. Firestarter, Carrie, It, Pet Sematary, all of them. Okay. Well, this month I reread Salem's Lot.
Ooh.
It was a good one.
Yeah, this is one, because I was obsessed with Stephen King movies as a kid when I was really into horror. I never saw Salem's Lot.
They've got a new one out right now.
Oh, you know, sure.
No?
I'm older and wiser. I don't like spooky.
I enjoyed it just as much as I did 40 years ago. I gave it 5 stars.
Okay, what's it about?
It's about a town that it's called Salem's Lot, and basically it's taken over by vampires. And yeah,
I didn't know he had a book about vampires.
Yeah,
really?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Yeah, I've never read it. All right, so my first one, I kind of had a little theme going unintentionally, but the first one I want to talk about is The Simple Wild by K.A. Tucker. So this is the first in a series. I don't know if the other 2 or 3 that come after this are companions or if they're continuous to this story, but this is essentially a father-daughter relationship. So we start the book off with our main character's mom married to this guy that she absolutely loved. She's from the big city. He's from Alaska and like flies those itty bitty planes to travel from like place to place that main airlines don't.
Oh, the little hoppers.
Yes. So that's like his life. After she gets pregnant and has their daughter, she can't do it anymore. She can't live this remote life anymore. So they end up splitting up. She goes to the big city, I think New York if I'm not mistaken. And then we pick up at chapter 1 when our main character is now in her 20s and she gets a call from her birth father, the one who's in Alaska. His neighbor is begging her to come see him because he's dying essentially. And the last time she talked to him, she was about 14 years old. He was never really present in her life, and they haven't talked in many, many years. So it's really just about, at the heart of it is about this father-daughter relationship and how she goes to Alaska to just kind of get to know him, you know, before it's too late. And yes, there is a romance in here as well. But the heart of it is that father-daughter story, which I was not expecting. I thought this was just going to be a fun romance that takes place in Alaska, which it kind of is, but it's mainly about the father-daughter relationship, which was really interesting, and I really was surprised and I enjoyed it. So I really liked that one.
So next there was Here One Moment by, how you say it?
Liane Moriarty.
Yeah, that. Liane Moriarty.
I'm assuming.
So, I wanted to save this actually for when we go on a trip soon, because it's about these people are on an airplane and this lady all of a sudden stands up and starts going down the middle aisle going, "Oh, I expect you're gonna die at age 28 by suicide." And just boom, boom, boom. I expect you're gonna die 45 in a work accident, and just all the way down the plane.
Yeah. And the reason why is because they're stuck on the runway. Like, they haven't gotten clear. Like, they're delayed. So they're just sitting there on the plane, and this happens.
And that happens while they're delayed. But it's very interesting the way it starts to mess with people's minds, because some of the first couple of deaths start coming true. And it's very interesting the way these people... I gave it 5 stars. I loved it. I mean, what would you do if you were stuck somewhere, couldn't get away, and some fortune teller was like, you're going to die here, and this is how it's going to happen. This is how old you're going to be. How would you react?
Yeah, because, well, first of all, it doesn't all take place on the plane. Just this main setup takes place on the plane. But what's really interesting, too, is that once they land, they go their separate ways. Like, how do you find the people who are on that plane with you, all this time ago, trying to find this woman who made all these predictions, and as they're starting to come true, and it's getting traction in the news and on social media, like, oh crap, I was on that plane, how do I find this lady? But what's funny is some people on the plane blew her off. Some of them took it very seriously. Some celebrated whenever they said they would live until 98 years old and die of old age. I mean, that character reminded me of you. Like, you'd be like, woohoo! But yeah, it's interesting the way this played out and what was really going on in this story. It was one of my favorites that I read in September, so I'm glad you read it.
Yeah, I was gonna wait, but I got it from the library, and you know, I read everything on my Kindle, so...
But yet I freaking own the copy here.
I read everything on my Kindle, so when I have the library book, I read it!
So yeah, I gave it 5 stars as well. Loved it. So the next book is another father-daughter relationship. This one is a thriller. I would consider it thriller. And it is The Last One at the Wedding by Jason Rekulek. This is the guy who wrote Hidden Pictures last year, the horror book that really creeped me out, and the drawings from the little kid in that book did not help.
That was a good one.
It was so good. I really enjoyed it. So this one is a thriller. So this one we're following, the main character is the father, and he has not spoken to his daughter in about 3 years, I want to say. They had some sort of falling out, which you do find out later in the book what happened between them. And she calls him and says, hey, I'm getting married and I want you to walk me down the aisle. So of course he goes, but whenever he goes to this destination wedding, the family that she's marrying into may not be all it appears to be on the outside. This rich, uber rich family, there may be some problems in it. But again, another father-daughter relationship story that I didn't really expect. And this one had me, like, it totally fooled me. It totally took it into a direction I never saw coming.
When did I ever see this coming?
But I really enjoyed the ride of this story. And yeah, this is definitely more thriller than horror. So, interesting to see him write 2 different genres. And I don't know what else he's written, but I may have to go back and see if he's written anything before Hidden Pictures last year.
So my last one, we're going back to nostalgia again. I was able to find a copy, an e-Kindle edition with the audio of the 75th anniversary edition of The Hobbit.
Oh, The Hobbit!
The Hobbit. And my dad loved J.R.R. Tolkien. Yeah. I mean, a lot. I remember like 15 years ago, you and Dad having a conversation, and
it was more of an ultimatum that he made me watch the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Well, we were explaining Harry Potter to him, and he was like, what's the big deal about Harry Potter?
Yeah.
And I said, Dad, think about Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, but it's kids. And he went, okay, I might watch one of the movies. So then she was like, I don't care about Lord of the Rings. Yeah. And he was like, I'll watch a Harry Potter movie if you watch Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
So
and
it happened.
But and I will tell you, I enjoyed the movies. I've never seen The Hobbit, never read The Hobbit, but I saw the 3 Lord of the Rings movies, but I couldn't tell you what they were about, other than little people with hairy feet who are always hungry, and the Gollum guy with the ring. Like, I can't tell you the plot of it, like what the whole purpose of the stories were, but I enjoyed it while I watched it. I just didn't care enough to retain it, so.
But listening to the audio as I'm reading along on my Kindle, I love immersive reading.
Oh yeah,
I really do.
It's the best.
And it just brought me back to being 16 years old again, like the first time I ever read The Hobbit. And I really enjoyed that experience. So I gave The Hobbit a 5 stars again.
Okay.
So
I may have to check them out. All right, so the last book I want to talk about is A Silly Fun Goofy Time. And I would say if you enjoyed the TV show on Netflix starring Kristen Bell that's called The Woman Who Lives in the House Across the Street from the Woman in the Window.
oh, that's a mouthful. I remember that one. That one was good.
Something along those lines. It's a satirical novella that I read that one day I'll figure some things out, but not, a satirical novella was apparently not it either. But this is by Frida McFadden. She just released a satirical novella called "The Widow's Husband's Secret Lie," and it was very satirical. It had me laughing, and it had me like really kind of wondering what the heck was really happening here. And needless to say, I couldn't figure anything out. But it was like maybe 150 pages, maybe. It was very short. It was very silly. It even opens up where our main character, who just lost her husband, is talking to a friend, and her friend picks up a book that she's reading and is like, ooh, I've never heard of Frida McFadden, you know, how's this book? So like inserting herself as the author in the book was really fun. The story of this poor lady and everything she learns and finds out about her husband after he passes away. And the way the book ended, I was like, of course. Like, why couldn't I have predicted that?
One day you'll figure it out before the end.
Day. But if you enjoyed Frida McFadden, I think this was a silly, fun, goofy time. Not to be taken seriously, obviously. It actually says on the cover it's a satirical novella. It was just... It gave me a few laughs, and it still had me wondering and not guessing correctly. So, but it was fun. It was a good time.
Well, good.
So those are our top 3 favorite books that we read in the month of October. Leave a comment down below. Let us know if you've read any of these, or what was your favorite book that you read that month.
Or have you ever gone back and reread a book after like 40 years and it still be awesome?
But can it be like 25 years? Because I did start rereading the Harry Potter books late last year, early this year. I've only read the first 2, I think. I reread them, and I did read them as a kid, and I enjoyed them. Still so magical. But that's going to do it for us today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in our next video.
Bye.